This is a full-size gaming PC, and this is my personal vindication made manifest. We built this mini-ITX build around a low-profile GPU to prove that size doesn't matter and big things can come in small packages. 5 foot is a perfectly average height. That's my opinion, at least.
He's so small.
Look, this is compared to my...
Just because something is small doesn't mean that it can't pack a punch. And we're gonna show you how to build this, how to save some money without compromising on performance, and, oh yeah, also, how the compromises you do make aren't what you think. You'll see what that means later. It's a tease to the later thing, I'm sure. Here's the thing about mini-ITX builds in the year of our Lord 2026. Everybody knows that small form factor is cool. Small PC, clean desk, and you can carry it in your backpack to a LAN party. I don't know if those are still a thing, but the pitch is quite obvious. The assumption is always that going small means slow, that you're gonna be paying more for less. But this build is the counter argument to that. We're talking about a $200 CPU, a low profile graphics card that fits where most full-size cards can't, and a case the size of 2 shoeboxes that has been one of the community's favorite compact builds for years and years and years. Now, we're not chasing the highest numbers. We're chasing the best build for what you actually spend. So let's walk through it. The case is the Cooler Master NR200. It's 18 liters, mini-ITX, and one of the most builder-friendly compact cases on the entire market. Supports GPUs up to 330 millimeters, CPU coolers up to 155 millimeters tall, and radiators up to 280. 5 ventilated panels keeps airflow moving, and it's tool-free on all sides. The frame can be fully disassembled for 360-degree access to every part of the build, which matters when you're working in a space this tight.
There we go. Yeah, rip it apart. Rip it apart. Get into it.
It runs around 80 bucks and it punches well above that price. This is the case that made a lot of people realize SFF didn't have to mean difficult or expensive. The only thing it doesn't have is a front Type-C port, and that's genuinely really the only note from anyone who's built in this thing. The processor is the Intel Core Ultra 5 250K+. You've got 6 performance cores and 12 efficient for a total of 18 cores. A boost clock up to 5.3 gigahertz and 30 megabytes of L2 cache, all at 125 watt TDP. Here's what matters the most though. It launched at 200 bucks. This chip brings Intel back to parity with its own 14th gen, and in some games actually beats the 285K, which is a chip that launched at nearly double the price.
The 250K Plus is very comparable to the 9600X in game, but also has more threads than the 9600X, so you can do more productivity workloads. It's really cool stuff, man.
Reviewers at TechSpot called it the better $200 offering over AMD's competing option, saying it's simply better at almost everything for the price. For a build where the whole point is squeezing real performance out of a tight budget, this is the right CPU. One thing to be upfront about, the LGA 1851 platform is, well, it's on its way out. And Intel's next generation Nova Lake processors are expected to launch early next year on a new socket, so this isn't a chip that you buy if you're planning to upgrade the processor in 2 years and keep everything else. We're going to come back to that in the closing section. The board is the Asus ROG Strix B860i gaming Wi-Fi. It's Asus's mini-ITX option for Intel's B860 chipset. It supports Intel's Core Ultra Series 2 processors, DDR5 memory up to over 9,000 mega transfers. It's got one PCIe 5.0 x 16 slot, a PCIe 5.0 x 4 M.2 slot, plus a second PCIe 4.0 M.2 slot, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4, Thunderbolt 4 on the rear I/O on a mini-ITX board. You've got Thunderbolt 4 and Wi-Fi 7. The VRM is solid for the 250K Plus, and the connectivity is genuinely premium. This is not a board that made compromises to hit the mini-ITX form factor. Memory is 32 gigabytes of Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 6000. I wouldn't ever put anything else in this build. And here's the one that makes this build genuinely interesting. The Asus RTX 5060 LPBRK. Now this thing isn't just low profile. At 175 millimeters long, it's a freaking ninja. A ninja with 3,840 CUDA cores. A sneaky boy carrying 8 gigabytes of GDDR7. A Shadow Master with 128-bit memory bus. Also, it boosts up to 2580 megahertz in OC mode. The bit got old. I just stopped there. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's a low profile card that ships with both full height and half height brackets, which makes it one of the only viable options for truly compact mini-ITX builds.
That's a tiny little guy, dude.
Oh my goodness, look at him.
It looks like a kitten if a kitten was a GPU.
That's what the BRK stands for in the name, by the way. It stands for Bracken. So they saved like 3 letters, which is incredible. IPX5X dust resistance on the fans, dual ball bearings, DLSS4 with multi-frame generation. This is a small card that doesn't make small compromises. Performance-wise, this is a 1080p card first and a 1440p card with DLSS, and Jared's gonna show you where it lands, but for a build that's not expensive or expansive, this is the card to use. For storage, we've got a 2TB Gen 4 Kingston NV3. We're cooling the build with a 240mm AIO cooler, and we've got 850 watts of power keeping the lights on under the hood. Jared, let's see if the 50 series card the size of a Mr. Goodbar can hang, shall we? Right after this montage.
Well, that was a fun montage, Zach. Did you forget to ask him to subscribe again? Let's find out if small means slow. Everything is at 1080p unless I tell you otherwise. No frame gen, no upscaling, raw hardware, real numbers. Maybe it's born with it, maybe it's meta PC. Get it? Steel Nomad across 3 runs averaged right around 3,121. A 5070 Ti scores in the upper 6K range, but this card is not that card. It's not trying to be that card. What matters is how insane the games are. Cinebench R24 saw a score of 1,814, and for a $200 CPU, that's a serious number. The 250K Plus is not just a gaming chip, and that score really backs it up. Cyberpunk at 1440p averaged 63 FPS with 53 FPS for our 1% lows. Identical across all 3 runs. And I want to be straight with you here. 63 FPS in Cyberpunk at native 1440p is the card being honest about its limits. This is a 1080p first card, and Cyberpunk at 1440p native is one of the hardest tests in our suite. But, and this is a very important but, like Kardashian level but, DLSS quality on this card, this game will get you at least above 100 FPS at 1440p with nearly native image quality. The floor is 63. The real world number with DLSS, much higher. Now here's what this card was built for. Cyberpunk at 1080p averaged 115 FPS with 98 FPS for our 1% lows. The lows are nearly as close to the average as I've seen from any card in this tier. The platform is stable and the card is not sweating at 1080p at all. It's absolutely wild. And if you don't understand, let me break this down for you. The 1% lows are a score of the worst of the worst. A lot of systems I've seen can hit 300 FPS just fine, but the 1% lows are around 200. And in my opinion, that's the number that counts. This system has 15% difference between its average and its lows, which means it's so stinking stable, dude. And that kind of consistency makes for an excellent gaming experience. All right, now back to it. Arc Raiders on high, 122 FPS average and a 107 1% lows. We got the same average across all 3 runs, and the 12% difference for the 1% lows, once again, stable, baby. Fortnite on this build was just chucking out frames, hitting 186 FPS cleanly across each run. And we did see a minor variance in the 1% lows, but they averaged out at 162. This build is giving you enough stability to play on a 144Hz monitor without needing to ever worry that you're not going to get enough FPS. The consistency of seeing 12 to 15% difference in the average and the lows is seriously impressive to me. Rivals on high showed the first and only real hiccup. The ultra taxing game limit hit 88 for the average FPS. And while 2 runs were locked solid, 1 hit 66. Rivals just didn't really want to cooperate, but that being said, I'll freaking take it, my guy. And here's the part that surprised me a little bit. Gaming thermals. The GPU averaged between 61 and 71 degrees across all titles. The hottest was Cyberpunk at 1440p with a 71 degree average and 78 degree max. That's a low profile card within little baby fans and the case small enough that my dog can't even fit in it, but these numbers are just fine. The CPU averaged 55 to 64 degrees across gaming, comfortably within the range for the 250K Plus. And under full OCCT stress test, the CPU hit 88 average, 92 max, and the GPU hit 76 average and 78 max. The NR200's ventilated panels and airflow design are doing real work here. Nothing is thermal throttling, nothing is running hot. Size does not mean hot. The NR200 earns its reputation. And lastly, for the creative side, Blender. We got the monster scene at 198 samples per minute, junk shop at 154, and classroom at 109. The 250K Plus is 18 cores, and that shows up here. For a $200 CPU, those are numbers that would have required significantly more expensive chip just 2 generations ago. If you game on this build and occasionally render, it handles both without complaint. Small case, great numbers. Back to you, Dad.
I'm not his dad. All right, who is this build for? This is for someone who wants a complete capable PC that doesn't eat their desk. This is for someone gaming primarily at 1080p and occasionally pushing 1440p with DLSS, someone who wants to carry their PC to a LAN party without checking it as luggage, someone who sees the NR200 it on a shelf and thinks, hey, that's what a PC should look like. That's pretty cool. Look at it. I want it. The budget goes into the components that actually affect your gaming. The CPU, the GPU, the memory speed, not into a massive case and a 1,000-watt power supply. So who's this build not for? Well, if you're gaming at 4K, the RTX 5060's 8 gigabytes of VRAM is going to shoot you in the freaking foot. It's going to suck and not be fun. That's a deal breaker at 1080p or 1440p with DLSS, but at native 4K, it's the ceiling and you're going to hit your head on it. And I've never hit my head on a ceiling in my entire life, so trust me. If you're planning to upgrade the CPU in 2 years and keep the board, the LGA 1851 platform is on its way out, and Nova Lake is right around the corner. If platform longevity matters to you, I would probably go AM5. And if you run a lot of heavy peripheral software like RGB ecosystems or multiple expansion cards, you're going to hit the limits of what mini-ITX can do faster than a full tower. But if this is your build, and you know if it is, there's nothing else at this size and this price that does what this does in 2026. The full parts list is in the old description down below. Every component and every single link, it's right down there. And if you want something like this built for you, check out our new website at metapcs.com. If you want to see more builds like this, make sure you hit subscribe because we do these every week, and the next one will surprise you. I teased you, so you'll come back and watch the next one.
Yay!